Ever feel like your thoughts are like running the show, dictating how you feel and react to things?
It's like our minds are on autopilot and we're just along for the ride.
Well, today we're going to deep dive into a technique that can help us uh, take back the wheel, so to speak. It's called cognitive restructuring.
It's all about rewiring those automatic thought patterns that can sometimes lead us down a not so great path.
So where does this idea of cognitive restructuring, where does it come from?
It really emerged from the world of therapy, specifically the work of Dr. Aaron T. Beck.
Beck, yeah, the father of cognitive behavioral therapy.
Right, CBT. And Beck's research was groundbreaking because he really highlighted the power of our thoughts. He showed how distorted thinking can actually contribute to emotional distress.
So it's not just about like thinking positive thoughts, it's deeper than that.
Exactly. It's about identifying those thought patterns that aren't serving us well, the
Right.
ones that might be based on faulty assumptions or unrealistic expectations.
And then what? Like how do we restructure those thoughts?
Well, that's where the restructuring comes in. It's a process of challenging those negative thoughts and replacing them with more helpful and realistic ones.
That makes sense. So is there a kind of a specific way to go about this restructuring?
Yeah, there are actually several techniques involved, but one key aspect is learning to recognize what are called cognitive distortions. They're not as scary as they sound. Basically, these are just patterns of thinking that tend to twist reality in a negative way.
Okay, I think I get it. So like what would be an example of a cognitive distortion?
Well, let's say you make a mistake at work, and then you start thinking, "Oh, I'm such a failure. I always mess things up."
Ah, yeah, I've definitely had those thoughts.
Right. Well, that would be an example of overgeneralization, where you take one isolated incident and apply it to your whole self or your entire life.
And that's obviously not accurate or helpful.
No, it's not. And so in cognitive restructuring, you would challenge that thought. You might say, "Okay, I made a mistake, but that doesn't mean I'm a failure. Everyone makes mistakes."
Yeah, it's about putting things in perspective.
Right. And that's just one example. There are many other cognitive distortions, like catastrophizing, where you imagine the worst case scenario, or black and white thinking, where you see things as all good or all bad.
So by learning to identify these distortions, we can start to break free from those negative thought patterns.
Exactly. And it's not just about changing our thoughts, it's also about changing our feelings and behaviors.
But how does that actually happen? I mean, if we've been stuck in these negative thought patterns for a long time, can we really just like snap our fingers and change them?
It does take some effort and practice, but the amazing thing is our brains are actually wired for change.
You're talking about neuroplasticity?
Yeah, the brain's ability to rewire itself.
I've heard about that, but it's still pretty mind-blowing to think about.
Well, think of it this way. Every time you learn something new or have a new experience, your brain is forming new connections.
Okay.
And cognitive restructuring is kind of like building a new mental muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger that muscle becomes.
So we're actually changing the structure of our brains.
To some extent, yes. Studies have even shown that cognitive restructuring can actually decrease activity in the amygdala, which is the part of the brain associated with fear and anxiety.
So it's not just some feel-good technique, there's actual science behind it.
Absolutely. And the benefits go beyond just reducing anxiety. Cognitive restructuring can also help with depression, anger management, and even things like procrastination.
Oh, wow. So how does it help with something like procrastination?
Well, often procrastination is rooted in fear of failure or perfectionism. Those thoughts like, I have to do this perfectly, or what if I mess it up?
And those thoughts can really paralyze us.
Right. So cognitive restructuring helps you to challenge those thoughts and replace them with more realistic and productive ones, like it's okay to make mistakes, or done is better than perfect.
I like that. Done is better than perfect.
And it's not just about individual challenges. Cognitive restructuring can also be really helpful in relationships.
How so?
Well, we often make assumptions about other people's intentions, and those assumptions can lead to conflicts and misunderstandings.
Yeah, we jump to conclusions.
Right. So with cognitive restructuring, you can pause and question those assumptions. You can ask yourself, is there another way to interpret this situation?
So instead of immediately assuming that your partner is ignoring you, you might consider that they're just, stressed out about work or something.
Exactly. And that can make a big difference in how you respond to the situation.
So cognitive restructuring is really about taking control of our thoughts
Yeah.
and choosing how we want to react to the world around us.
It is empowering. It's not about denying our negative thoughts. It's about acknowledging them and then choosing whether we want to let them control us or not.
It's a powerful tool, and,
Yeah.
and it sounds like it can be applied to so many different areas of life.
It can. And the best part is it's a skill that anyone can learn.
Well, that's encouraging. So for our listeners out there, what's one thing they can do today to start incorporating cognitive restructuring into their lives?
Well, I would say start by paying attention to your thoughts. Notice those automatic negative thoughts that pop up, and then just try to challenge them. Ask yourself, is this thought really true? Is there another way to look at this situation?
That's great advice. And it's a reminder that we all have the power to change our thoughts and ultimately to change our lives.
That's the beauty of cognitive restructuring. It's about recognizing that we are not our thoughts, we are the thinkers of our thoughts. And we have the ability to choose which thoughts we want to focus on and which ones we want to let go of.
So to everyone listening, think about an area in your life where you feel stuck or limited. How might cognitive restructuring help you shift your perspective and create positive change? Remember, you hold the power to reshape your thoughts and unlock new possibilities.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Deep Thoughts Podcast. I hope you found insights and inspiration to take with you on your journey of self-growth. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And don't forget to follow us on social media to stay updated on new releases and exclusive content. See you next time, where we'll continue to help you grow and explore your full potential.